I'm Leslie Swanson. I'm an associate professor of psychiatry at the University of Michigan. I'm a clinical psychologist and I have specialty training in behavioral sleep medicine. My research focuses on the intersection between sleep and mental health. One of the interesting considerations specific to sleep is that the ways that COVID has been impacting our sleep. In a study with my colleagues here at Michigan Medicine, we asked people who work in the medical field about their sleep before and after the pandemic started. And we found that people who were working in person had shorter sleep after the pandemic started. But people who were working from home didn't have a change in their total sleep time. They were going to bed later and they were waking up later, however. We also found that people who got more sleep said that their mood was better. And not surprisingly, people reported much more use of screen time before bed after the pandemic started. And this is problematic because we know that using electronic devices that are held close to your face before bed can make it harder to fall asleep. In general, research has shown that we've seen people are going to bed later and they're waking up later and they're sleeping more during periods of quarantine or when they're working from home. And this ultimately translates to less social jet lag because their sleep schedules are more stable 7 days a week. They're not sleeping in so much on the weekends because they're sleeping later during the week and they're not having to make up for sleep on the weekends. This means that people are sleeping closer to their natural body clock times, which is healthier. At the same time, we're also seeing higher rates of insomnia, which is probably caused by the increase in stress that we're all experiencing related to the pandemic. So many of us are starting to transition back into a normal life, and this entails specific work and school schedules for which we have to be in person. And there are things that we want to pay attention to make sure that our sleep stays healthy as we transition to more normal life. One of the first things I would suggest is to set a fixed wake time, one that you can keep 7 days a week, and plan to get into bright light outdoors or turn on your overhead indoor lights as soon as you can after your wake time. This helps to send a strong signal to our body clocks about when we should be awake. Second, I recommend not going to bed until you're sleepy. Don't try to sleep if you're not feeling sleepy. Third, avoid light in the evening. Try to have just enough light so that you can see what you're doing starting 90 minutes before bedtime. If you have to use a light emitting device before bed, dim it all the way down and also consider an inexpensive pair of blue blocking glasses. Look for those with orange amber lenses that wrap all the way around your face. The other thing we recommend in the evening before bed is that you put in a buffer no work zone starting an hour before your bedtime where you're doing something quiet and relaxing in dim light because we can't go from 60 miles per hour to 0. Finally, if you're having trouble sleeping, you should get out of bed and do something else, something quiet, relaxing, in dim light, and don't go back to bed until you're feeling sleepy. We want you to stop trying to sleep because we can't force ourselves to sleep. It's not within our direct control. Although it can be a big change to adjust back to new work schedules that require you to be back in person after you've been sleeping on your own body clock schedules, there are things that you can do to make sure that your sleep stays healthy during that transition.